Margaret Glaspy, welcome to Australian Musician and welcome to Melbourne, Australia.
Thank you so much.
How's the tour been going for you so far?
It's been really, really fun. Yeah, we're having a good time. It's my first time in Australia, so I'm just kind of soaking it all in, and the crowds have been really fun and the shows have been great. It's been awesome.
When I travel, I kind of notice the little things in the countries that I visit. What's the first thing about Australia that you notice is a little bit different?
I mean, the weather is a lot different right now compared to what we're going through in New York at the moment. I think it's pretty chilly in New York right now, so just seasonally, it's a totally different ballgame for sure.
The album Emotions and Math has been out for a year now, and you've been playing the songs on tour. Do you find that the songs are growing and developing as you've been playing them?
Yeah, totally. I have really awesome musicians that I play with, and so they keep it fresh for sure and ever evolving, which is nice. So it's been really fun. You do have those nights when you're kind of like, gosh, we've been playing these songs for a while. And I started touring this record probably about 5 months before it released. And so and then I've had the songs even longer before the actual record saw the light of day. I'd been working on the songs for a long time, so I've been living with the material for quite a while now. But that said, surprisingly, it's still really fun and feels new every night, which is great.
Yeah, there's a quote on your website talking about the album, and you say that you feel like it took 26 years to create the album.
Yeah.
But now you've got to turn to a new album and create that within a year or two. Is that equal parts exhilarating and frightening?
A little bit. I think I'm looking at it like the next one's going to take 29 years or something. Like it's just carrying over from this record. Feels like this record will be a part of the next record, for sure. I've learned a lot in terms of like what you make and what it sets you up for in touring, and how it affects kind of the whole ecosystem of your kind of scene as a musician and your career and stuff. So I'm excited to make the next one. I'm excited to go home and like really kind of dig in and start. I've been writing some on the road, but I'm a little better at writing when I'm home, for sure.
Yeah. Are there any sort of lyrical or musical themes developing in your head about the new album?
Oh yeah, totally. I've got some bits and pieces kind of coming together, for sure.
Yeah. What kind of things did you learn from making Emotions and Math that you might take into the next one?
I think I learned how I function pretty well in like, kind of taking on a project that large. Making records, it's a pretty big endeavor, and so I think I'm learning what works for me and what doesn't, as a producer and also as a songwriter and as a musician too. So I think it's really such a skill making records, and I'm such a beginner at it, really. So I'm excited to there's certainly a lot more to learn, and there's a few things. I'm excited. I keep thinking about wanting to go in and get vocal lessons and really kind of hone in on a couple things vocally that I've been wanting to work on pretty badly, and just kind of go back to the drawing board and just follow up on the things that I've learned from the first record. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of apply a lot of the things I feel like I've learned are pretty nuanced. Things about my own musicianship, or again, kind of my process in making things, or in kind of touring. So there's lots to kind of translate to the next one, so it can be even better, hopefully.
Yeah. Are you the kind of songwriter who archives ideas and goes back and listens to things, or do you prefer to finish a song in one go?
It's kind of like the first, I suppose. I think bits and pieces come along, mostly because I'm on tour most of the time, and so it's hard to really sit down for very long. You don't really have very much time to yourself. So yeah, if I'm in the, back of the tour van or whatever, I get an idea, and often I'm just singing into my phone. I also have a little tiny amp that I plug into headphones and work on guitar figures and things like that. So it's pretty gradual on the road. When I'm at home, I'm able to spend 8 hours or something on a song and really kind of dive in. But on the road, it's a lot more pieced together.
Do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Yeah, I do. It was kind of silly, for sure. The very first one I wrote was when I was in high school. I was probably about a freshman or sophomore in high school. And then after that, I remember I kind of more officially wrote a song that I kind of, recorded with my little recorder. And that was actually encouraged by a good friend of mine now. Her name is Sarah Watkins. I don't know if you know Sarah Watkins. She's a great, amazing musician. Was in the band Nickel Creek for a very long time. But she encouraged me, you should really finish that song. And so I did. And I was very young. I was probably like 15 years old, 14 or 15. And I kind of kept doing it ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's International Women's Day today.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of music media that are highlighting female musicians on the radio and in the press. There's an alternative view that perhaps suggests that music shouldn't be separated by gender, that in the end we're all musicians. Music is made by musicians rather than females or males.
Mm-hmm.
Some people suggest that there shouldn't be best female this or best male that awards.
Yeah.
Where do you sit with that? What are your thoughts on the thing?
I think I kind of it's complicated sometimes, because I think that women come from the history that's kind of in place certainly isn't in our favor, and at the same time I think that the kind of remedy in a lot of ways is to kind of stop the separation. I don't think that in terms of musicians, I don't think of musicians as a female musician ever. I mean, that's never really popped into my mind. I just see it as a person playing music. And often, being a female musician, you really get, it's interesting, you get categorized quite a bit, or kind of only compared to other women, and it kind of pigeonholes you pretty intensely, which I certainly don't enjoy. And I think that in my own way, I often don't really talk about it very often, because I think it's sometimes the problem is when someone asks me, how does it feel to be a woman playing music? It's such a crazy question, it's really wild. And I think the biggest problem with being a woman playing music is that question often. So it's a kind of a weird territory, because it's something that I think media really loves to cover, because I think it's kind of like a hot item or something. But really, I think the more, which while I so appreciate women and being a woman, the thought of International Women's Day can be a little backwards at times too. But I know that it's necessary at the same time, because we have a real history of not being treated well and kind of being oppressed. So yeah, there's a lot of different angles on that one, for sure.
Because you used to work in a guitar shop in New York.
Yeah.
You probably would have come across the stereotypical situation where, perhaps a guy and a girl walk into the store, and traditionally the salesman would go to the guy, assuming they were the musician. Did you sort of come across much of that attitude, or have you seen things change?
I felt that the owners of that store were really good people, really good, just really, really awesome, kind of solid human beings in New York City, and there were certainly a few very weird instances that kind of were in that realm, but for the most part, they attracted really cool people that it never really came up. But there's, especially, in the guitar community, you can run into some weird stuff for sure. Just like anywhere, though, it's kind of everywhere. Sexism is certainly not, we've come such a long way, but it's definitely alive and well. So, and I think it kind of goes in both directions. There's so many kind of stereotypes about men and women that are kind of, I think, raging in us, that are kind of, I think really hard to, for some people to deny. And I think too, we're just raised with certain kind of, things in the background that that kind of really just get implemented in our minds and in our hearts, that's the way it should be. Either men do this or women do this, or there's these kind of roles. And I feel really lucky to not really, I feel like I'm in a situation where that isn't really at the forefront of my mind ever.
Sure. Speaking of guitar shops and guitars, currently you're playing a borrowed Denocaster, Telecaster.
Yeah.
I saw in a recent interview you were talking about you'd like to explore some different guitar sounds. Have you been able to do that, and is there a specific sound you're searching for?
I haven't been able to do it because I haven't really gotten to kind of settle down and try other things, but I do have a couple of guitars actually waiting for me at home right now that I'm really excited to try out. One of them being just a new Telecaster, a Fender Telecaster, and then another one being a Nash Strat that I'm really excited to try out too.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are two that I'm really excited to try out. And then also, I mean, I haven't played acoustic guitar in a really long time, and so I'm kind of excited I have a really cool little Waterloo guitar, which is kind of Collings Guitars, great company out of Texas, makes kind of like their take on a Kalamazoo, like a Gibson kind of Kalamazoo guitar, and I have one of those at home that I miss for sure. And then also I'd like to. I haven't played any like kind of semi-hollow electrics in a really long time, and I'm kind of hankering for something, just to. I've been playing this Danocaster on tour pretty exclusively, and I love that guitar so much. It's served me really well, and I'm also excited about just trying some other things out for the new record and just for fun.
Do you write on electric guitar? A lot of the songs on the album sound like they were born out of the electric guitar.
They actually were not. I mean, I wrote most of them on acoustic guitar. The first two versions of the record, I recorded the record 3 times. First 2 versions were all in acoustic for the most part. And then once I had gotten to the 3rd version, I decided to completely revert to electric. I always wanted it to be all electric, but it was easier to kind of record acoustic guitar in my house because electric was a little too loud to record in my apartment because we had neighbors and stuff. So a lot of the first versions of the records were kind of just because it was more convenient to do it quietly.
Yeah. Your pedal board is quite sparse. Are you looking to explore more sort of textures in the future?
I actually kind of am. Yeah, I won't give away too much, but I think the next record will it'll still be, revolve around the guitar because that's kind of my home. But I'm not sure if it'll be such clean sounds not everything is so clean. A lot of the record is kind of distorted actually, but it won't be so guitaristic. I think that some of them will be a little more like actually sound centered and not as kind of maybe classic sounding.
Can a new piece of gear, picking up a different guitar or trying a different amp or a pedal, can that inspire a song for you as much as a lyric?
I think that, I think I'm kind of inspired by everything under the sun. I wouldn't write that off. I wouldn't say no to that. For the most part, probably not though. I think that I've had like a lot of rules for myself. And that's kind of the way that I think I've functioned for a long time in terms of songwriting. I kind of like write this like fake songwriting Bible that like I abide by at all times. And one of them is often that the song should be able to be played on any instrument, and it should feel complete still. So whether it's acoustic guitar, or it's ukulele, or you're singing it solo, or whatever, it should be able to stand up. And so that said, as a producer, I find myself kind of branching out a little bit more and kind of getting a little more intrigued by sounds, for sure. But I think my heart kind of lies in really making sure the song is served first, and then after that it feels like sonic qualities are kind of brought into the picture, for sure.
Yeah. You've got a few more dates here in Australia. Then what happens for the rest of the year?
After this, I actually go and play guitar with a friend of mine, Bridget Carney, who's in the band Lake Street Dive. She has her own solo project, so I'll be on tour with her for a little while, just playing guitar. And then I go do some more touring in the States with my own music, do some festivals and things like that for the summer, and then go to Europe and do a bunch of festivals there as well. Come back to the US, do some bunch more touring, and just keep kind of plugging away until the fall in the States, and then start working on the next record come about September, October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Margaret Glaspy, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.